Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am Robin Jones, the chair of the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, also known as ROMA. I'm here today at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario at our new offices. We welcome you there, but most importantly, we are welcoming the Honourable Chrystia Freeland, Deputy Prime Minister of Canada and Minister of Finance. We are so pleased to be here today for this announcement. ROMA is the rural voice of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and represents rural municipalities in every part of Ontario. For the better part of the last decade, broadband has been a key priority for ROMA. ROMA understands how critical digital connectivity is to the vitality of our rural communities and to the overall social and economic prosperity of all of Ontario. Broadband is a foundational piece of Ontario's future. It is essential infrastructure for public services like healthcare, education, and transit. It drives growth, supports our workforce and local economy, and enhances quality of life in rural and agricultural Ontario. Our rural communities have changed since the pandemic, attracting new people, new businesses, and new ideas. This has made Ontario more dynamic and diverse. It has also shone a light on the need for accessible, reliable, and affordable broadband services to meet the needs of almost 3 million people living and working in rural places. ROMA's advocacy has included the need for critical funding and support from both the provincial and federal governments. ROMA and AMO, who's represented today by our Executive Director, Brian Rossborough, have been working together tirelessly to close the digital divide and bring high-speed services to every part of Ontario. The governments of Canada and Ontario have both made multi-billion-dollar investments for which we are grateful. Today, we welcome this announcement from the federal government. Our communities depend on us to work together and to achieve great things together. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Chrystia Freeland, Deputy Prime Minister of Canada and Minister of Finance. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Robin, for your hard work. Thank you for Roma's hard work. Thank you for your advocacy for rural Ontario and for rural municipalities across the country. It is great to have Brian Rossborough with us as well. Thank you for your hard work and your advocacy for this important project. I also want to thank two other people who are here with us today and made today's announcement possible. James Wan. James, maybe you want to just indicate who you are. Of the CIB, he's the broadband director. And Terence Foran of the CIB, he is the director of policy there. So thank you very much for your role in today's announcement. Bonjour. J'aimerais d'abord reconnaître que nous sommes réunis sur les territoires traditionnels de nombreuses nations, dont les Mississauga du Credit, les Anishinaabe, les Chippewa, les Haudenosaunee, et les Wendat. I am really glad to be here with the hard-working, really critical team of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, that's Brian and his team, and with the Rural Ontario Municipal Association. Robin, thank you again for the work you and the other rural mayors do. So important, your voice advocating for rural communities across the province. I do want to start by highlighting some good economic news. Earlier this month, the Bank of Canada lowered interest rates, making Canada the first G7 country to do so. Inflation in Canada has now been within the Bank of Canada's target range for 5 months in a row. Wage growth has now outpaced inflation for 16 months in a row. Il y a 2 semaines, le Fonds monétaire international a publié son examen annuel de l'économie canadienne au titre de l'article 4 Dans ses constatations, le FMI a salué la solide crédibilité budgétaire et la résilience économique du Canada. Plus particulièrement, le FMI a félicité notre gouvernement d'avoir respecté les objectifs budgétaires que nous avons présentés dans l'énoncé économique de l'automne de 2023. Ces objectifs complémentent le point d'ancrage budgétaire de notre gouvernement de réduire le ratio de la dette fédérale au produit intérieur brut à moyen terme. Nous avons respecté tous les objectifs dans le budget de 2024. L'FMI a reconnu que l'économie canadienne semble avoir réalisé un atterrissage en douceur. Ainsi, le Canada a pu éviter une récession et la déchirante hausse du taux du chômage que de nombreuses personnes croyaient inévitable. And today, almost 1.3 million more Canadians are working compared to before the pandemic. The OECD expects the Canadian economy to see the second fastest rate of growth among the G7 this year, and the fastest growth in 2025, tied only with the United States. After our budget was tabled in April, Moody's and S&P, two of the leading credit ratings agencies, reaffirmed Canada's AAA rating with a stable economic outlook. These are powerful economic proof points. They show that Canada's economy is strong and resilient. They show that our economic plan is fiscally responsible. And that really matters because it means that we can afford to make the investments in Canada and Canadians that Canadians need. Our government is delivering fairness for every generation, and our plan absolutely includes Canadians who live in rural and remote communities. An important part of delivering fairness for Canadians in these communities is ensuring they have access to the same quality of services as everyone else in Canada, including high-speed internet. That's why our government is today investing $2 billion through the Canada Infrastructure Bank to connect 430,000 more Canadian homes to high-speed internet. Since 2015, our government has supported expanding high-speed internet for Canadians, including in rural communities. In fact, in 2016, 84% of Canadians had access to high-speed internet. By 2022, this figure had increased to almost 94%. These investments are part of a broader effort by our government to meet our target of ensuring 98% of Canadians have access to high-speed internet by 2026 and 100% by 2030. Nous sommes en bonne voie pour atteindre cette étape cruciale et l'investissement que nous annonçons aujourd'hui s'agit d'un grand pas vers cet objectif. Dans un pays aussi vaste que le nôtre, il peut être très coûteux de construire l'infrastructure nécessaire pour soutenir l'Internet à haut débit dans les communautés rurales et éloignées. With this financing, the Canada Infrastructure Bank is working with Canadian internet service providers and public sector funding partners to build the infrastructure needed to connect rural and remote communities to high-speed internet. Having faster, better access to the internet makes a big difference in Canadians' quality of life. It means better access to work, to school, to healthcare, and to the people you love. And everyone deserves that access, no matter where they live. And as Finance Minister, I also know that faster internet access is important for our economy and for our productivity. It means each hour of the day can be used more efficiently. It means we can study, we can conduct business more quickly and more easily. That's why our government is stepping up to fill this gap and to deliver fairness to Canadians in rural and remote parts of the country. I really, again, want to thank the CIB for for the essential role it plays in this project. And above all, I want to thank Robin, the mayors she represents, for working so hard for their constituents, for advocating so passionately on behalf of rural communities across Ontario. Thank you very much. Really glad to be here with you to make this announcement. Our government is acting now and acting with purpose because we know that Canadians are counting on us. Thank you.
We will now take questions from media. It'll be one question and one follow-up. Please state your name and media outlet before asking your question using the microphone. C'est une question et un suivi. Veuillez indiquer votre nom et votre média avant de poser votre question. Maintenant, la première question.
Good afternoon, Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. Deputy Prime Minister, can the Prime Minister still stay on to lead the Liberal Party into the next election, given that you just lost one of the safest seats in the entire country last night?
Yes, he certainly can.
Can you explain why? Because everybody we're hearing from behind the scenes believes that the result last night means catastrophic losses across the country. If you cannot win in Toronto under Justin Trudeau, why should anybody believe you can win anywhere else under him?
Our government is focused on working hard for Canada and Canadians and on delivering results for Canada and Canadians. That is what the Prime Minister is focused on. That is what we are all focused on. The Prime Minister is committed to leading us into the next election, and he has our support.
Next question.
Hi, Minister. Barbara with iPolitics. Still about last night's results in Toronto, St. Paul's. Do you think the Liberals need a radical change in strategy and that perhaps a new leader in the party might be a necessary change?
I just answered that question. Let me say the Prime Minister is focused on delivering for Canada and Canadians. Our whole government is focused on delivering for Canada and Canadians. That's what we're going to continue to do. The result in St. Paul's is certainly disappointing. We knew it was going to be a hard fight. I think it's especially disappointing because so many of us know Leslie. We know how hard she and her team worked. And I do also want to congratulate Don Stewart. He and his team worked hard as well. We know that these are hard times for Canadians. We know that we have to work hard to earn back their trust. And we know that the way to do that is by delivering for them, by delivering fairness for every generation, by delivering investments in housing and infrastructure, including in rural broadband, the investment we're announcing today, by delivering investments in making life more affordable for Canadians with things like dental care, which is being rolled out this month to kids under 18, by delivering on a national program of early learning and childcare. Already, families in Ontario are saving more than $8,000 per child, but we need to get to $10 a day and be sure there are enough spaces for all the families that want a space. We need to keep on delivering investments in our economy and in economic growth. I was at a car parts plant yesterday, and I could see the brilliant work the people working there are doing, the workers, the innovators. They need our support so that Canada can be on the cutting edge of the 21st century global economy. And we know that we need to deliver all of those investments in a fiscally responsible way so that inflation can continue to stabilize. It's now been within the Bank of Canada's target range for 5 months in a row. That's good news. We have more work to do so that the Bank of Canada can continue its work bringing rates down.
And why exactly do you think the Liberals are failing to retain voters in ridings like St. Paul's that, the party held for decades? What is going on?
I think I already answered that question, and I'll just say this is a disappointing result. We take it seriously. We know that things are hard for people in Canada, and we know we have to work even harder, delivering for Canadians, winning back the trust of Canadians, that's what we're all committed to do.
Next question.
Bonjour, Madame Freeland. Christian Noël de Radio-Canada. Dans la circonscription de Saint-Paul ce matin, même les électeurs qui ont voté libéraux, à qui on a parlé, nous disent « Justin Trudeau doit quitter ». Est-ce qu'on est rendu au point de non-retour? Est-ce que Justin Trudeau doit quitter? Et quels dégâts ça cause à la marque libérale s'il reste?
Non, il ne doit pas quitter. Le Premier ministre, comme tous les membres de notre équipe, comprenant que nous devons continuer de travailler fort pour livrer pour les Canadiens. Nous comprenons que la vie est difficile aujourd'hui. Partout au pays, nous devons travailler plus fort et c'est ce qu'on va faire.
Les électeurs de Saint-Paul ne sont pas différents de la circonscription voisine, qui est la vôtre, University Rosedale, pardon. Je suis sûr que vous entendez les mêmes commentaires quand vous êtes au porte-à-porte à propos de l'avenir de Justin Trudeau. Le fait qu'il reste, je vous repose la question, quels dégâts ça cause à la marque libérale?
J'ai déjà répondu à la question. On appuie le Premier ministre. Il était très clair qu'il va être notre leader pendant les prochaines élections. Je pense que pour nous tous, pour moi personnellement, en tant que député, en tant que ministre, oui, je suis déçue par les résultats. Et on doit les prendre au sérieux et on le fait. Et notre réponse doit être de comprendre que la vie est difficile pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes, que nous devons travailler plus fort pour aider les Canadiens et Canadiennes, pour bâtir plus de maisons plus vite, plus de logements plus vite, pour rendre la vie plus abordable avec les programmes comme les soins dentaires, comme les garderies de petite enfance. Nous devons travailler plus fort pour bâtir l'économie canadienne, pour faire les investissements dans l'économie canadienne, comme l'investissement duquel on parle aujourd'hui. Et surtout, nous devons le faire en manière responsable du côté fiscal, parce que nous comprenons que c'est très important de continuer de stabiliser l'inflation. L'inflation maintenant est dans la fourchette cible du Banque du Canada pour 5 mois. C'est important, mais on a du travail à faire pour permettre au Banque du Canada de continuer de baisser le taux directeur, qui est très important pour la vie des Canadiens et Canadiennes.
Ceci conclut la conférence de presse. Merci tout le monde.
Minister Freeland, Mark Ramsey with the Toronto Star. Yesterday before the by-election,
Well, I'll take one more.
Yesterday before the by-election, you said the Conservative choice was coal, rural, and small. Then Canadians in a riding that has been dominated by your party for years disagreed with you and made that choice. If you don't have your finger on the pulse with voters in Toronto, St. Paul's, which voters do you have an understanding of?
Thank you for the question. And, you know, this is a disappointing result for us. And we take the result really seriously. We know that Canadians are hurting right now. And we know that we have to work hard to win back their trust. We have to work hard to deliver for Canada and Canadians, to deliver with things like building more homes faster, to deliver with programs that make life more affordable for Canadians, like dental care, like early learning and childcare, to deliver with investments to grow the economy and to create great jobs. And we know that we need to do it in a fiscally responsible way, because it is so important to continue on the path we're on. For 5 months now, inflation has been within the Bank of Canada's target range. That is good news, but we have more work to do so that we can support the Bank of Canada in lowering rates, because we know that that will bring relief to Canada and Canadians. Thank you very much.
Mistake by making those comments.